This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Let's kick the week off right. Happy Monday, everybody, as we welcome you into Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network. Stormy Buonantony and JVT back in the saddle after a week and a couple days away. And I was going to say reunited and it feels so good, but you've already started off the day on a negative foot with me. And I don't know why you have to be the way that you are.
Why? What do you mean?
I am walking into the studio today. I give you a wave. You roll up to me, ready for the fist bump. And then I go to meet said fist bump, and you just do the total fake on me. That's so messed up.
What are you talking about? Like, we're right back where we left off.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we do it here.
How was your time away? Anything?
That was good. It was fine. It was nice to get away for a little bit. It wasn't exactly a vacation. Had some personal things I had to deal with as well. So a big shout out to our bosses who helped me do that, by the way, and for anybody who had reached out and said what's up. So good to be back. Good to work, I would say. So happy to be here.
I know the past couple days, though, you've been getting into, having a little bit of weekend fun, watching the games end up with the conference finals and everything.
Yes.
And now we have those results. We'll push them forward. You came back just in time for the NBA finals. Look at that.
Yep. Although next weekend I do have to go watch my little sister get married, so I will be gone next weekend.
I forgot about that. Okay, we do have a lot to get to, though, over the course of the next 2 hours here on the show. So time, per usual, to run it down.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
It's June 1st, big day on the NFL calendar. We're officially 100 days away from kickoff, but also this day marks kind of the second wave of veteran roster shakeups, and boy, did we get a hell of a move off the rip this morning, JVT. The Browns reportedly finalizing a trade to send Myles Garrett to the Rams. Cleveland in return will get Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and additional draft compensation that's yet to be announced. The Rams are already a plus 750, 8-1 co-favorite to win the Super Bowl with Seattle. Now down to plus 650. Your solo favorites, the rich get richer.
100 days of football and a plus 100 price on them to win the NFC West as well. So they're up there. Look, this is exactly what the Rams do, right? F them picks. They go out and they want established veterans going to help them push them over the edge. And you could argue that Myles Garrett is going to be a part of that. Their defense at times had let them down, and this dude is a one-man wrecking crew, and it's fitting considering the last time the Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl, Aaron Donald was there, was a big reason why they won the Super Bowl in their own stadium. Now they're going back to SoFi this year for the Super Bowl. You wonder if they can do it again.
On the Browns side of things here, yes, getting Jared Verse, like if you're looking for young talent in the NFL, obviously he'll be a great staple moving forward for you, but in the immediate future for a team that was already pretty looked down on and had a win total of 7.5, early thoughts?
Oh, that next year, if you get the quarterback, that you're going to be very good.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, Verse is a great edge rusher to have, to add in there, and he's young. You have a lot of young talent in a lot of other different places as well. We've talked a lot about Carson Schlesinger and the pieces they have defensively outside of Myles Garrett. Skill positions can be better, I think, obviously, but they're going to be better, especially going into next year. If you nail it and you get a high pick and you get, let's say, an Arch Manning, everything goes your way, whatever it is, you're going to be in a position here to really take a big step forward if you're Cleveland. So I saw some people that were against it, but considering the package, I think you're pretty happy here.
For sure. I like it big picture. My question is just this season. In the immediate future, what is this year going to look like?
I don't want to bring up old stuff here, but I will just say, if the plan was to, put all the cards on the table and go get Myles Garrett, don't you think you could have used a 2026 first-round pick on something other than Ty Simpson?
Haven't they used like 2 of their last 3 first-round picks on quarterbacks?
That is correct. 2016, Jared Goff. They didn't have a first-round pick until 2024, which is Jared Verse, eventually traded for Myles Garrett, and then Ty Simpson.
And there you go. And that pick wasn't even theirs originally. You get that in the Trent McDuffie trade. So neither here nor there.
Probably could have used it.
We'll preview this a little bit. I mean, not preview. We will deep dive into that a little bit more later on in the show. But to keep it rolling here, obviously plenty to discuss in the NBA and NHL following the Hurricanes' dominant Game 5 win on Friday. We know the Stanley Cup final is set. Game 1 puck drop tomorrow against the Vegas Golden Knights. And will the real Cup favorites please stand up? Carolina, a minus 155 series favorite. JVT, Vegas, plus 130 dogs on the odds board. But I wrote it this way because in the eyes of the NHL community at large, could it be flipped? I saw an article this morning from Pierre LeBrun, NHL insider for The Athletic, as well as TSN, who did his regularly scheduled poll of NHL coaches and executives leading into the Cup final, to which the advantage in terms of the majority went to Vegas in those selections.
I guess so. I mean, look, they've been playing really well, and now that they're actually kind of healthy and everybody's kind of vibing here a little bit, it seems that like peak form, but it's hard to argue that Carolina comes in any worse form. The only slip-up that we've seen was the ridiculous rusty spot in game one, and outside of that, absolute murder. You, your significant other, your husband, who dare say is my friend, and I all watched that game. I was excited to hang out with you guys on Friday night and watch a good hockey game, and instead we watched the blowout. I mean, that team's insane right now.
It was 3-0 right away in the first period. They never looked back, end up winning at 6-1, and now it's an interesting matchup. You know, the Hurricanes are so well known for their pressure and forecheck. How will Vegas withstand that? And then Vegas on the other side has a little bit more high-end talent and hockey IQ than maybe any of the other teams that we have seen so far face Carolina. So it'll be fun.
Taking shots at those Euros all the time.
I'm not saying against Carolina. I'm saying that Carolina has seen to this point. Thank you very much. So we'll give our thoughts on that series, Conn Smythe, and more, and get some perspective, by the way, from a guy who has won a cup himself. Shane Knighty does a great job as an analyst for the NHL on TNT and for the Vegas Golden Knights television broadcast, but won a cup in 2011 himself with Boston. And let's get to the NBA, where we can party like it's 1999. The last time the Knicks were playing for an NBA title was June of that year, where they lost to who else but the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs punching their ticket to the final Saturday night. They beat OKC 111-103 to win on the road in Game 7 and bump the defending champs. What do you make of the $2 price they have right off the rip here, taking on the New York Knicks, who are riding an 11-game win streak right now and been very, very dominant their last two series?
I think it's about what I expected. Saturday night, we were guessing what the price would be. My guess was like $1.85, so right in the range of where I thought it might end up here. San Antonio is a very, very skilled defensive team. It obviously starts with Victor Wembanyama, the options they have with him in terms of where they want to put him. We can get to the minutia of the matchups as well. Obviously, having Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper coming along strong. You know, this is a team that, with its defensive versatility and potentially the upside on offense. We'll talk a little bit about the shooting. That's been a big topic for them as you move forward. But I think, considering they have the best player, the best defensive group as well, and the way that they've been playing here, I think it makes some sense that with home court advantage, you would make them about a $2 favorite.
We'll have New York TV and radio show host here on VSiN as well, John Jastrzemski, join us later on in the show. He is a diehard Knicks fan, so we'll see if we can pull him away from the fandom a little bit and get his true betting thought process on this game. That'll be coming up in hour 2. Before we look forward, though, I do want to look back a little bit just to how they got this done against OKC and what you made of how the Thunder didn't end up being able to get back into the game the way they thought they could.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good by San Antonio, and it actually speaks to, like, narratively, I know we do all the betting stuff, but it is impressive that we are here for San Antonio. I mean, this is an extremely young team that its core is based on a lot of guys who are within the first 5 years of their career, even less, and here they are in the NBA Finals, and that resilience was on display on Saturday night when they're playing Oklahoma City. How many times did you watch the Thunder get into a run and get back into that game, and you thought, okay, here, now is where it's going to tip. Oh, now it's where it's going to tip. And every single time, the Spurs went back in and got momentum back, and they would extend it back out to 9, extend it back out to 11, extend it back out to 8, and they never really let them get back in it. I think there's a lot of different things you can look at. They were very good defensively. As I was watching it, one of the things that really stuck out was the absence of another secondary shot creator you could rely on outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, J-Dub, Jalen Williams was injured, and every time Shai got the ball, he was getting 2 bodies on him, so they moved him off the ball, tried to do different things. But when you're asking Jared McCain to create shots for you, Stormy, when you refuse to bench Lou Dort because he had not been playing well throughout the series and Dagnall was sticking with him due to probably loyalty to some extent, you really saw the limitations of Oklahoma City without Jalen Williams out there. Do they win if he's out there? Maybe not, but still, that was a hampered group, and still Shai came out there and had 35.
So you mentioned that point with SGA and the way that he was defended throughout the course of that series, and he said a lot of the same things you just said about San Antonio after the game.
Yeah, they were just a better team tonight from start to finish. And then every time we tried to, cut into it and take control of the game, it felt like they had an answer. And a lot of times it felt like it was, tough shot making. So hats off to them. Yeah, they played better tonight, and they deserve to win again. They're young, they're talented, well-coached. Play the right way, play together. Seems like they like each other. They have the makeup, for sure. You don't beat us without the makeup, and they beat us, so they have the makeup to go get one. And yeah, we just have to take it one day at a time from here on out. Try to get better this summer and be a better team than we were this season than last season. And try to get back over the hump.
How much do you think that makeup played a role specifically against OKC? Because that was a matchup that caused them problems throughout the course of the regular season. San Antonio wins 4 of 5 there, and then obviously they take it in the Western Conference Final.
No, I mean, I was told that the regular season didn't matter in the NBA, and that these matchups, there's nothing that you can take from them that would really spin it forward into some sort of thing that you can then use to predict what would happen. No, I think that this is a matchup problem for them, and you saw it. I also think, too, one of the things, and it was part of the reason why they went and got McCain, but it also speaks to the failures of Lou Dort. This is a team that when they have failed, their shooting has kind of been front and center. It's been inconsistent, and that was exactly, I think, what you saw from Oklahoma City. And I think the other part, and this goes into some news we got over the weekend as well, or it might have been Friday or Thursday, but now future head coach of the Orlando Magic, Sean Sweeney, who is one of the lead assistants for the San Antonio Spurs. He is lead defensive assistant for me. He has been on the bench twice. The last 2 times the Thunder have been eliminated, this year, and then the Dallas Mavericks when they beat them on the way to the NBA Finals a couple of years ago. Sweeney was on that staff too. So there is something to not only the personnel, but a guy like that who now has a crack at being a head coach is a dude that has something in his mind, and he knows what to do with a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder.
We are going to talk through our early thoughts on the NBA Finals matchup coming up in this next segment. But I did want to, at least before the break, mention some of the chaos that has gone on in the college baseball regionals to this point, and shout out our guy Jensen Lewis, who is going to continue his call on the Morgantown Regional a bit later on this afternoon. Big game on ESPN2 out there with West Virginia and Kentucky, but top seed and the College World Series favorite, who's been the top team in the country all year long, UCLA, gets knocked out and eliminated early. Now we have number 2 seed Georgia Tech, who is your current favorite at 4-1 to win the College World Series. They're up against it today as well in a winner-take-all game against Oklahoma. So lots of fun stuff to get into and keep tabs on. Georgia Tech, by the way, 4.5 run favorites on that run line, minus 425 to win on the money line, but that is a team in Oklahoma that beat them 15-8 on Sunday. Okay, we got to step aside. Back to the NBA next on Money Moves.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, VSiN Watch app, any of our great radio stations across the country. Thanks for hanging out with us as we have the NBA Finals officially set. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. The Knicks and Spurs going at it. Like we mentioned in the last segment, we have seen this matchup before, albeit a long time ago. It was the last time the Knicks were in an NBA Finals. They lost to the Spurs back in 1999. San Antonio, a little bit more than a $2 favorite in the series. New York, though, a team that has been very, very dominant. I mean, since they went down 2-1 to the Hawks in the first round, they have seemingly been unstoppable. They've looked better at the end of series than they have at the beginning. Why aren't people, you think, giving them maybe enough love going into the series?
I mean, I think they are. I don't think this is not a really big series price on its surface. I mean, whatever you want to give for home court, and then the boost that the Spurs have in terms of power rating.
Yeah, but I mean, even before this series was set, it was whoever comes out of the West is beating the Knicks.
Yes, that is true. And so, and if that narrative is carrying, I would think that you probably haven't been paying attention. If it's carrying for like you, because I think the Knicks do have a very good chance to win this series. They are so much more versatile offensively than what the Oklahoma City Thunder were bringing to the table, especially when you account for the shrinking of Chet Holmgren in the very big moments that they needed him, the absence of Jalen Williams. This is going to be a team in the New York Knicks that provides many more challenges for you. Yeah, think about just start with Victor Wembanyama, okay? On defense, we know how good Victor Wembanyama is and can be. So what do you do with him defensively? Do you just put him on a Karl Anthony Towns and assume that that's going to be the case? Or do you put him on like Josh Hart and have him play off Hart and say that, hey, because that's how they played him in the regular season. You play off Josh Hart, you allow Victor Wembanyama to roam and do what he does to protect the rim. It's going to leave a lot of open threes for Josh Hart, but it's also going to allow you to protect the rim at a really high level like what Victor Wembanyama can do. But if you're going to do that, then it opens up another can of worms for you if you're San Antonio, which is if Victor Wembanyama's playing off Josh Hart, who in the world is guarding Karl-Anthony Towns, who's going to be a really big mismatch problem for them. You know, there's so many different things that I think the Knicks are going to be able to provide. And Brunson is just such a good, smart player in terms of getting to his shots, getting the matchups, as we saw. Now, I don't think the Spurs will willingly give up soft switches and two bad defenders, but you don't think that De'Aaron Fox probably has a bullseye on his back for every single one of these possessions that Jalen Brunson's going to come down and provide something. And you just look at the ancillary pieces, right? OG Anunoby, who I know you'll talk about a little bit later, he's got the versatility and the ability to score, and he's a chess piece in and of himself. He can guard Victor Wembanyama. Mm-hmm. So there's just so many different things that I think the Knicks provide that are tactical mismatches, advantages, and the Spurs have their own too, that at the very least, much like I played that series against the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think you're expecting a long series. Like, I think these two teams are going to match up with each other pretty well, and we're going to get a really fun series akin to what just watched in the Western Conference Finals.
Which is probably why that over 5.5 is juiced to minus 170. Got to bet $170 to win back that 100. With that in mind, though, any bets that you either placed right away or have been contemplating as we near game one coming up later on this week?
I mean, I think so. There's that, what we talked about. I think if you're getting under minus 170, like that was the price for Thunder Spurs. It was minus 160 over 5.5 games. So if you're in that minus 165 and minus 165, then I think that's a play that is definitely worth making. I thought, interestingly enough, so kind of tying this in, because we're going to talk more in depth about the finals MVP markets, but looking at Karl-Anthony Towns to win finals MVP, I don't think is anything that's particularly crazy. If they do go with this strategy of playing Wembanyama off of Josh Hart, Hart's going to have to make them pay. But if they don't, if he doesn't, then that's going to leave a matchup that Karl-Anthony Towns should be able to have some success with. You're also probably not going to put Cat on Victor Wembanyama defensively, only because we know that Cat has some foul issues, so you don't want to get him out early. So he's probably going to be elsewhere himself on a shooter, so he can come in and crash and do those sort of things as a help defender. But I think this sets up for a pretty solid offensive series for Karl-Anthony Towns. And if that's the case, look, obviously it's going to be hard to upend Jalen Brunson if they beat the San Antonio Spurs. Having said that, as we saw with the Oklahoma City Thunder, there were media members who had a vote going into that final game that said if the Thunder had won, barring anything nuts, and maybe Shea was going to win it with 35 points, but that it was Alex Caruso who was the MVP for the Oklahoma City Thunder going into that final game of the series. So it can happen. And Karl-Anthony Towns is a much bigger piece, if you will, and a bigger star with more gravity than a guy like Alex Caruso. Would make more sense.
You can get 20-1 on him right now at DraftKings. Victor Wembanyama is your favorite for finals MVP, minus 185. So only a slight difference. I wouldn't say it's particularly worthwhile for those of you that try to look in. If I'm betting the MVP versus them to win the finals, like what would it be? Minus 205 compared to minus 185. Jalen Brunson, though, as you mentioned, plus 210. Cat, 20-1. OG Anunoby, anywhere from the 40-1 to 60-1 range. And then Stephon Castle, 50-1 before we get to the triple digits. Victor Wembanyama, no secret, very emotional player, not afraid to let his, heart be on his sleeve. And after they win Game 7, he was not afraid to show that at all. And in the post-game podium, I liked listening to the way that he talked about just how important this moment is for him and how bad he wants to win. Take a listen.
You work all these hours we put in. It's for these type of emotions. Like I want that. I want to win so bad. It's like my life depends on it. Winning the Larry O'Brien, it's a childhood dream. And having a real shot at it, having a chance, tangible chance at winning it, at realizing a dream, it's a chance. It's a lifetime chance, it's, you never know when it's going to happen again. But it's, the day we win it, speaking for myself, it's going to be an amazing day of, realization of a dream, It's hard to put into words. It's almost like the meaning of my life,
So he's already got the visualization going, it sounds like, right? Mm-hmm. Like that is the next step. This is a team that's very ahead of schedule. What have you made, I guess, of San Antonio being this team so early?
I mean, it's all, I shouldn't say it's all, but it's a big part of this, which is him and the way that he plays, Victor Wembanyama. It's also nailing what they did in the draft with these guys. I mean, Stephon Castle is obviously a fantastic player. You even have a dude like Dylan Harper who's come on really strong after being injured. Go to the ancillary pieces like a Julian Champagnie and others, Devin Vassell. Like, guys have come in and performed very well. You got good shooting nights from multiple guys to close out the series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mitch Johnson's done a great job. We mentioned Sweeney that's moving off to Orlando to be a head coach. It's a really good staff. I mean, it's a pretty complete team to bench to floor. And I think that's a really big reason why, but it's built on the back of their defense. And I'm very excited to see, it's not like this. Yeah, I mean, you can put it there, but, you get to the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. And you get this number one offense versus number one defense and that clash we've all been waiting to see. This is going to be pretty good. I mean, this is the best defense and the best defender in the NBA, and Victor Wembanyama, taking on a Knicks team with a really great offensive versatility that's playing historic basketball on that end of the floor. Can't really ask for much better than that.
So as you mentioned Julian Champagnie, we're going to, throughout the course of the coming days, go into a handful of the different markets that you can bet, right? Right now, we're specifically talking like series angles, but there are different series leaders props that we dove into for the conference finals, and you can do that obviously in an extended form here. Zach Cohen on Hardwood Handicappers earlier today was discussing an angle in the three-point leader market. Here you go.
I did take Julian Champagnie to lead the series in three-pointers made. I was like plus 265. I think that it's a really good value if you just kind of look at what we've seen throughout the postseason so far. I mean, he's actually the leader in this series in three-point makes per game, and there's a really good chance that he ends up being covered by Jalen Brunson in this series if the Knicks feel that's where they could hide him. And I do think it's a really good thought that Brunson wouldn't have to move around as much. He wouldn't have to guard someone that can actually take him to the basket, but you can't fall asleep off the ball, and Champagnie can absolutely shoot over him. So I think there's going to be really quality looks for Champagnie in the series, and I think that it was pretty clear in Game 7 where he stands in the rotation because he actually finished that game on the court instead of Devin Vassell. He played 38 minutes in that Game 7.
Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I would totally agree with it. I think it makes a ton of sense. I heard Zach talk about this, and I'm going to add a little bit to it as well, just because I think the angle is really smart. You said we can get into it a lot. One of the things that I was going to go back to the well on, but the price is not anywhere near where I want it to be, was Josh Hart to lead the series in rebounds. So if they are going to play off of him, not only is going to get open three-point looks, but that's a lot of easy opportunities to crash the offensive glass. If guys are just playing off you by a million miles, so the opportunities to grab those rebounds and whatnot, I think are really going to be there for him. And as we know, Victor Wembanyama, he's the $1.40 favorite over at DraftKings to lead the series in rebounds. He could have one monster game and then just everything's over, right? I mean, he opened the series with, 40 and 20 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got just one of those nukes waiting, and that'll really kill you. So I wanted to play Hart, but that is not the price that I wanted, so I could not do it.
He's juicing everything. Minus 140 for total rebound, for rebounds leader, minus 170 for points leader, minus 185 for series MVP. It's hard to bet on Wemby because of just the way that everything is so prohibitively priced.
Yeah. I think one thing, too, that we could talk about a little bit later is the assist leader market.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, Stephon Castle's the favorite at plus 140, but with De'Aaron Fox back in the fold at about 6-1, I think it would make some sense to potentially look in that direction as well.
Okay, beautiful. So you mentioned there is a potential angle I have on OG Anunoby. We can discuss that and a handful of other items that caught my attention over the weekend. It's an overreaction Monday. We're going to have a little fun with Call Me Crazy, but and then still to come this hour, excited to have TV analyst for the Vegas Golden Knights doing a great job with the NHL on TNT, Shane Knighty, join us as well to preview all things Stanley Cup Finals at the end of the hour. Stick around. More Money Moves coming up after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Championship season is here, and VSiN Pro can help you bet it smarter for a limited time. Lock in early bird pricing on our football special for just $175. The sooner you sign up, the more value you get, with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That means coverage for the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final, Belmont Stakes, and MLB right now, plus early access to our 2026-27 NFL betting guide coming out later on this month to help you attack all the futures, win totals, division races, and everything you need this upcoming season. You also get daily best bets, real-time bet splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, and season previews as we get closer to college football and next year's NHL, NBA seasons and more. Head over to vsin.com/subscribe today. That's vsin.com/subscribe. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you back here on Money Moves. Why are you laughing?
That was a mouthful.
It was a lot of words. I might have got tripped up there for a second. But we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on an Overreaction Monday. You know what that means. Time for Call Me Crazy But.
Put on your tinfoil hats.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The whole world gone crazy.
For Call Me Crazy, but...
Okay, so I'm going to start here in the NHL because I'm in a little bit of a weird futures position and I need your help. I've got 10-1 on Vegas to win the Cup and a 12-1 Mitch Marner ticket. I'm Vegas heavy, have nothing on Carolina, and I know that you can bet Carolina to win the series at -155 and have that be as the obvious hedge, but something in my gut tells me that maybe I should just bite the bullet and add to the futures portfolio from an award standpoint. Call me crazy, but am I going to have to add Freddie Anderson, who I've been against this entire postseason on?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
You think no?
So I met somebody over the weekend, or my time out. I tried a CrossFit class, and so the coach there, it was a Canadian dude, loved hockey, like you, knew who you were, didn't know who I was, so shocking. But we talked about this, about Freddie Anderson, and it's funny because before I even asked, the first words out of his mouth, can't keep it up.
Okay.
Can't keep doing it. Can't keep doing it. And I was like, man, why do you people keep saying this? And now, here we are. We're at the biggest stage where the lights are the brightest. You have constantly, all postseason long,
I know,
said that he was not going to be able to keep this up. And here, at this moment, you balk, you blink, you waver.
It's a money thing, you know? And so here's why I'm very frustrated, because now I think the reasons that I have balked, which are all true and completely rational, are now at the Stanley Cup final time playing into the narrative for him, right? That he did have the worst regular season of his career, that he has historically fallen apart in the big moments in the playoffs. If he's a key reason why they win a few games in this series, he's going to win this thing. He has potential. This dude has only given up 20 goals in 3 rounds. He has potential to set the NHL record if he gives up like 3 or fewer throughout the course of this series to be in the realms of some of the best playoff runs ever with Martin Brodeur and Patrick Roy and Jonathan Quick. It's crazy to think about. And as much as I've been critical of him, big picture, I think at the plus 220-ish price that he's at right now, I'm wondering if I need to just throw it in to have a little something.
I think you do.
Gross. Where do you want to go next?
There's nothing there. Come on now. Make a decision and stand on it. All right, for me, first off, we'll go with baseball here. There was a lot that I think was sifting through over the weekend, getting ready to come back, and he's going to pitch a little bit later today. But I'll take Chase Burns, a piece of Burns, to win the NL Cy Young at 20-1. National League Cy Young, super deep. I mean, it's absolutely insane what you're looking at here in terms of the contenders for this award. I'm going to rattle off some numbers for you, though. Over his last 8 starts, this is Burns, since that start against the Angels, by the way, in which he got absolutely mocked. $1.50 ERA, 292 fielding independent. He has struck out 30% of the batters he's faced, walked less than 7% of them. He has been absolutely fantastic. No hard contact allowed whatsoever. This dude has been unreal. And I don't really know if this is slowing down. I mean, for sure today against a muted Royals lineup that's 27th and weighted runs created plus and has been pretty mute all day, or all season long, that you're probably going to have a strong day today. But Burns has been unreal. And I understand the competition at the top is very, very deep and strong. But at 20-1, given some of the numbers that he's putting up here over the last 8 starts, and looks to be no way near slowing down. Burns at 20-1, give it to me.
I don't think you're crazy. I think from Kyle Harrison in, there's intrigue across the board for all those 8 guys. At the top, I guess your just worry is if Christopher Sanchez or Jacob Mizorowski, if they don't end up dealing with any injuries or having any regression, what are you supposed to do? Because they've just been so ridiculous.
And he's, speaking of Mizorowski, a 0.23 ERA in the month of May, so it's not like he has been playing poorly.
Yeah, added to the numbers over the weekend. I've got another one for Conn Smythe here. Call me crazy, but his odds in this market, Carter Hart that is, I think tell you what you need to know about whether or not he is going to win this thing. It's not quite the price disparity that we talked about on Friday where he was still 27-1 on the board, but you can still get as high as 17-1 I saw out there, 5th, 6th on the board, which when you look at his on-ice production is insanity, right? Given what he has done for Vegas at this point in the postseason, he should probably be the favorite. If not, he shouldn't be 5th, 6th, right? It should be Marner, Frederick Anderson, and Carter Hart right there in the top 3. And so the fact that he's priced the way he is just leads me to further continue saying I just don't think he can win this award based on some of the off-ice stuff. With these numbers being what they are, it just leads me to believe that that conversation is loud enough to be an issue, despite the numbers that he has had being absolutely insane. After those first 4 games of the series against Utah, the dude has been lights out.
So why do you believe that the market's right?
I think that's
Like
so you're saying the market's not always correct,
especially when it comes to the awards. And so I'm just wondering, man, outside of just because I think, and I'm guilty of this too, we believe that Twitter conversations are real life, and that maybe the reality is that these writers don't think about that when you're talking about giving him this award, and that is not noise to them. Now there might be. Do you know how many people vote for this?
18.
18. Okay. So I wonder if that's going to be, I mean, of those 18, who will actually
and I know
have that as part of their thing.
What you're saying about like the Twitter world or whatever, a big part of my Twitter world is writers and people that could be in a position to be a voter for this. And as someone with a very pro-Vegas algorithm, the fact that I've seen as much negativity as I have about him lends me more toward that direction, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I would say that on the surface, a 922 save percentage, I mean, he's been absolutely great. Less than 2.5 goals per game allowed. Like, the guy's been unreal, and a big reason why they're here.
And even better the last 2 rounds.
Correct.
So, where are you going next?
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. Like, I don't know what you were going. All right, my only other one here.
I'm not crazy. That's where I was going.
Yeah, call me crazy here. This is the only one I got left, but this is a good one because I've been gone, and these got posted while I was gone. I've been waiting for this to be widely available. Call me crazy, but the Jazz at 250-1 to win the NBA Finals is an insane price.
So
Give me every piece of the Utah Jazz to win the NBA Finals.
You told me about this on Saturday, and at first I did raise my eyebrow, but then you elaborated. So for our audience, do the same.
I mean, I don't even know if we need to elaborate. Folks, they went and got Jaren Jackson Jr. We know how good County George is. Ace Bailey, they have a top 2 pick in the draft. We'll see eventually what that becomes and if they trade or whatever it's going to be. Larry Markkinen is absolutely fantastic. This is absolutely wild what you're looking at with this roster. The versatility, the spacing, the shooting, and the size that they boast, they're going to be a problem for everybody. And Will Hardy's a really good coach. So, again, do I think they're better than San Antonio? That remains to be seen. Probably not. Are they better than Oklahoma City? Probably not. Could they find themselves as a top 3 seed in the Western Conference next year? Absolutely. Okay. And I think that at this price, we're going to be very surprised by the time you get to the end of the year where the Jazz are at. The notorious tankers are now contenders, I think.
And I know you're not a big hedger, but just the potential you could put yourself in once you get to the postseason is great at a number like that. Okay, this is a question truly for you, but call me crazy, but OG Anunoby 60-1 for Finals MVP feels very realistic to me. And I think about the injury recovery. He's had plenty of time now to come back and get readjusted to playoff form following the hamstring. The points and rebounds all going up in that series against Cleveland. He's a both ends of the court guy, and with Mitchell Robinson having the banged up pinky finger, could that maybe open Anunoby up to playing a larger defensive role on Victor Wembanyama? I mean, it could go one of 2 ways, right? Like he gets roasted and toasted and this bet is out the window. But hypothetically, if he continues to score and be an important piece of what they do offensively and also have success on Wemby, I feel like that's a recipe for success.
No, I think you're right. And I don't think you're actually too worried about the defense. I think he's going to open up as Wembanyama's primary defender to start the series. And unlike Alex Caruso or Lou Dort, I mean, specifically Caruso, though, look, OG Anunoby's a near 6'8" and 240, so he is not going to be moved. He's not going to be easily scored on. Wembanyama's not going to be able to bully his way in some of those simple little, hey, catch it just to finish over a smaller dude. There'll be a couple of those, but Anunoby, is more than capable of handling that. And then you mentioned his playoff numbers from a scoring standpoint for this team. You know, out of this world. He's averaging 20 points on 57% shooting in the postseason. He's shooting 48% from 3. If that continues and he plays a primary role on Wembanyama, I don't think it's crazy at all that you would look at that.
Okay, I might want to add it just for fun. Last thing on the way out here. And you're a big foodie. Call me crazy, but bacon-wrapped food sucks. I always see bacon-wrapped whatever on a menu, and I get super excited. And then inevitably, I order it, and it's terrible. Like, it's never cooked fully the way that it's supposed to. Well, you get a bacon-wrapped steak, for example.
Well, what did you have over the weekend that caused you to think?
Bacon-wrapped dates, which I thought I was really going to like.
That was going to be the thing that I offered, is actually the good thing.
That's what I thought I was going to like. And it was like soft, mushy on the inside. It was like crispy bacon on the outside and soft, mushy on the inside.
You know what a date is?
Well, no, not the date being mushy, the bacon. the bacon being mushy. But I think about like jalapeno poppers. I get gassed up about like a bacon wrapped jalapeno cream cheese situation. And then inevitably the bacon is always like the nasty part of it, which it's one of my favorite foods. How come you wrap things and it's terrible? We can't figure it out.
Did you go to get tapas? Is that why?
No, I didn't. But Firefly does have that on the menu, and I haven't had it there. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hurricanes have been knocking on the door of winning a cup for years. Finally, back in the final for the first time in 20 years. The only thing standing in their way, Vegas Golden Knights team that the rest of the league loves to hate, in their cup final appearance for the third time in their young franchise existence and trying to win their second in the last 4. So excited to have Shane Hnidy here to help us break it all down. Joining us on the Progressive guest line, former NHL defenseman, won a cup with Boston in 2011, been all over these playoffs as an analyst for the NHL on TNT and covers the Vegas Golden Knights all year round as their TV analyst. Shane, happy Cup final week. You ready to go?
I am. It's great to be on. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's this will be what? So this is 26 years. This is the 4th. It's funny. It took 16 years. I think I went once, and now all of a sudden you join the Knights, and boom, you're going for the 3rd time to a Cup final. It's pretty crazy.
Speaking to that, Shane, you were there every step of the way when they won it in 2023. That was a team, though, that finished top 4 in points, was the best in the Western Conference at the end of the regular season. This iteration of the team has a lot of that same talent, but did not have the success on the ice throughout the course of the year, right? Like they end up having to fire their head coach with 8 games left in the regular season. Why, in your opinion, have they been able to catch this lightning in a bottle in the playoffs the way they have?
Well, I think every time you go on a run to the Stanley Cup, it's a new story, right? So, you can't compare. I think of that year they won in 2023. I think they came out of, I believe, the All-Star break. And basically, you want to peak at the right time. They peaked from there, and they didn't stop. Obviously, you got to have some things go your way and play the right way to get and win the Stanley Cup. I think this year it was just teetering all year, and you're right. The hard decisions have to be made, and I think they needed to make that move at that time. I think they tried to wait it out as long as they could, and that's why, obviously I have a lot of praise for what George McPhee and Kelly McCrimmon. Everybody thinks they just do these these decisions, just they don't care. No, they do. They put a ton of thought to make hard decisions, and as somebody who sometimes can't decide what to eat, I'm impressed by what they are able to do, and bringing in Tortorella, they needed that to happen. Carter Hart got healthy and got hot at the right time. And then William Karlsson coming back was massive. And, the first round, you look at the games against Utah, they weren't at their best all the time, but they found ways to win. And then everything kind of has clicked at the right time for this group. Bringing in the guys, the way they built, bringing guys like Cole Smith and Nick Dowd that really solidified a 4th line, which was a strength of the Knights in 2023. To them going on to win there. It's just a lot of pieces that have fallen into place. And I think Tortorella's done a good job just with tweaks. And as he said, a lot of credit goes to Cassidy. It's still, a lot of what he's built into this team is there. And then Tortorella's tweaks and his voice kind of help bring back the belief. And you can see it on the ice. And we certainly did in that Colorado series, as that was the best hockey. Game 4, the best one they played all season long, all playoffs long.
Can you expand on that? What are the tweaks that Tortorella has implemented here? What exactly has he done that has caused this team to hit its stride?
Well, and here's the thing, and I always say this, and I think back to, players. I'm still a believer, coaches around the league, the X's and O's are, sometimes it's just terminology is the only difference. Certainly some teams will play a little bit different systems. I think he just came in with a more aggressive attitude, so I think he wanted more aggressive. When he won with Tampa, safe as death was, his assistant coach Craig Ramsey, who was with me when I won in Boston. Basically, I think they were a team that got timid, and he got back the belief of, no, we're a good team, and play a little more aggressive. Certain areas, I think they made some switches in the defensive zone rather than being such a team that protected the middle. They now will do a little more switch or man on man, so it's more of a hybrid zone D coverage. Not big adjustments. It's on the players to execute. And, a lot of that's mental. I think he brought back that side of it, as I mentioned, the belief in this group that they are a good team and they were built to win. And so all those things have come together. And again, it's on the players to go out and do it. We can talk about it all day, but if they're not going to go perform, and they certainly have done that here, and mentioned playing their best hockey in their last game, now heading into the Stanley Cup final.
Golden Knights and TNT analyst Shane Knighty joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. So let's push it forward to this matchup with the Carolina Hurricanes. How do you think that Vegas stacks up and matches up with them line for line, on D, in net? Like, who has the edge and advantage in your mind?
I don't know if there is. You got two teams in Carolina's, credit to them. What they've done in playoffs is, I think they've had one bad period. That's it. And that was game one against Montreal. Other than that, they've been, unstoppable. I think that Ottawa series was a lot closer, but they are a team that they have a ton of speed. They are relentless with their attack, the way they forecheck the neutral zone. And then they got Freddie Anderson's playing great, but they've got some defensemen that have really good defensive sticks. It's been known for a while. Carolina hasn't changed a lot of the way they play the Brind'Amour style. I think if you're the Golden Knights, you got to kind of play that long game and try and wear them down because they play so aggressive. I think breaking the puck, though, is going to be key for the Golden Knights. Their starts, which sometimes it takes them a bit to get in game, I think they've got to be ready from the get-go. They've got to be able to exit their defensive zone clean and quick and make the right decisions between the blue lines because they're going to be forced. I think the more they can get in on their forecheck, they've got more size. That will play to their advantage. Carolina's got a lot of speed up front, some smaller guys, Ehlers, Blake, Stan Cove, and even though they're smaller, they compete hard and they can win battles. So this is going to be a big challenge. I don't see any, when I look at the matchups, both sides, they both have their attributes that have gotten them to this point, and it's about both teams trying to go out there, use their will and their execution to be better than their opponent.
Frederik Andersen has been a very big topic of conversation for us. Stormy has said every step of the way that he can't keep this up. Can he? What's been the difference here?
Well, I like Stormy's view of that. I'll take it. Well, I don't think you look at that Montreal series, he didn't get a ton of work. So that's going to be the Golden Knights. I mentioned the defensive sticks. These are going to, I think they're a different challenge than what Carolina's seen. And a big goalie like Freddie Andersen, the best way to get to him and try and hope he doesn't keep this up is in his face, scoring different ways. And I think Golden Knights, we've seen they're a good rush team, but I think, you're going to need depth guys in those hard goals and the hard areas. And I think it's the battles I mentioned. Turnovers are going to play. Puck management is going to be key. The other, where I think Golden Knights have been really good, is they've won the battles in front of the net at both ends. And Carolina's a high shot volume team. They funnel everything towards the net. They'll protect their end too, but that's what I mentioned. Going back to the forecheck, the Golden Knights need to get ozone time. They need to get pucks to the net, bodies to the net. I think they can out-battle there. That's been a strength when they can get to those hard goals.
Shane, as someone who's been there before, these next 2 weeks for a lot of the guys on the ice are what they've worked their whole lives for. Like the minute that they stepped on the ice as a little kid, Stanley Cup final, that's what they're dreaming of having the opportunity to do. In terms of game one, can you take us into what some of these players might be feeling the first time they get out there on the ice and the moment and circumstance and how much of a feeling out process those first couple periods might be?
Well, I think, there's going to be, so, you got to deal with those emotions. You get to this point, I don't care how professional you are, there are going to be some anxious nerves, but there's also an incredible amount of excitement for the reasons you just said. You're at a moment that you dream about, and you recognize how hard it is to get here. Carolina's been around it for a long time. They're finally in. For the Golden Knights, every time you're in there, you've got a group of guys, especially the veterans, being a veteran group. You never know when you get this opportunity, so you got to grab hold of it. And then instincts kick in. Now, I think that first, you mentioned a feeling out there, maybe nerves for both sides. That first 5 minutes, kind of get all four lines, 6D, goalie sees a shot. Now you're in it. Now it's just playing hockey. You're back to doing what you love and what you're paid to do, and you go out and you play the game. And now it's about, as I mentioned before, all those little things that are going to come into it. Who can go out and perform, play their game best. We've heard John Tortorella. Our focus is on our game, and I think Rod Brind'Amour will be the same. Certainly, they'll look and scout and look at tendencies of the opposition. Their power plays, penalties, special teams, forechecks, all that. But when it comes down to it, it's about going out there and performing better than those guys across from you.
Shane, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. We appreciate it. Enjoy the series.
Always have a great day and enjoy it. It's going to be a fun ride.
Thank you, buddy. We will miss your suit game on all of these broadcasts. I don't think anybody's better dressed than Shane Knighty on these NHL broadcasts. Just saying. I know you're trying with your linen over here, but...
I mean, I'm trying. I think I'm achieving. Just wait until you see the outfit later this week.
We mentioned those series prices a little bit earlier, though. Carolina minus 155 for the series. Vegas plus 130. Those are also your prices for game one, with Carolina favored at home in Raleigh for that first one. But I asked that last question to Shane because I am kind of curious about maybe a little bit of a slower start in that first period, maybe. In Carolina, games against Montreal, we know those first period overs were such a trend, but maybe first game of the Stanley Cup final, and quite frankly, this whole series, I think, could be a little bit lower scoring. Okay, we got to step aside. When we come back, resetting hour 2 of the program. Big day in the National Football League. We'll discuss.